This just in, as US strikes bridges in Iran, it targets a water desalination plant in Kuwait. If you've been following this story, you know how quickly things are evolving. And if you're just catching up, this video will get you up to speed in the next few minutes. Let me explain why this matters. This story didn't start today. This development comes amid a series of recent events that have shaped the current political landscape. According to Associated Press, the underlying issue has been building for weeks, and today's announcement represents a major escalation in an ongoing story. Lawmakers and policy analysts have been closely watching this situation, and today's move signals a new phase in the broader narrative. Understanding the timeline is critical here because the context explains why this moment matters right now. Over the past several months, related discussions have taken place in committees, in hearings, and behind closed doors. Each step brought us closer to this decisive moment. For those who have been following closely, today's news is the culmination of a process that has been unfolding in plain sight. For those just tuning in, this is the entry point into a much larger story. Beyond the immediate headlines, there are several layers worth unpacking here. The technical details matter, the political context matters, and most importantly, the human impact matters. We'll walk through each of those dimensions in this breakdown. Let me explain why this matters. The United States has expanded its airstrike campaign against Iran by hitting more bridges and collapsing a tower at a key Iranian port. The latest strikes early Friday came after US President Donald Trump had threatened to start striking infrastructure too. The report includes specific details about who was involved, what exactly was said, and how each side is framing the issue. Several key figures have made public statements, and their words are now driving the national conversation across cable news and social media. Officials confirmed that the decision was made after lengthy discussions, and multiple independent sources are now corroborating the core claims. What makes this particularly notable is the timing, coming at a moment when public attention is already focused on this exact issue. Reporters on the ground are describing the atmosphere as tense but controlled, with both sides preparing for an extended public debate in the days and weeks ahead. Documents released alongside the announcement provide additional context, and several major organizations have already issued their own formal responses. The full implications will likely take days to fully assess, but the immediate reaction has been swift and largely predictable from each camp. For everyday Americans, the practical impact will depend on a number of factors, including how this story develops over the coming weeks and months. Industry groups are studying the details closely, while consumer advocates are raising their own concerns about potential downstream effects. Legal scholars are also weighing in, with several prominent law professors publishing initial analyses of the constitutional implications. What is clear is that this is not a story that will quietly disappear. It will continue to dominate headlines and shape conversations in living rooms, workplaces, and policy circles for the foreseeable future. Let me explain the bigger picture here. It's worth noting that political historians are already drawing comparisons to similar moments in past decades. Whether those parallels hold up over time remains to be seen, but the structural similarities are striking enough to warrant attention. Let me explain the bigger picture here. On one level, this is a story about policy and process. But on a deeper level, it reflects broader shifts in how power is being exercised and how public institutions are responding to rapidly changing circumstances. Political analysts point out that this kind of move rarely happens in isolation. It is usually the result of weeks or months of careful strategic positioning behind the scenes. Economists are watching closely, because policy decisions like this one often have ripple effects across markets, employment figures, and consumer prices. Internationally, allies and adversaries alike are recalculating their own positions in response. Legal experts are also weighing in, noting that some aspects of this decision could face court challenges in the coming months. Foreign policy commentators are watching to see how this reshapes regional alliances and what it signals about the administration's broader strategic priorities. Trade analysts are also examining the potential impact on supply chains and on the cost of goods that American consumers purchase every day. What everyone seems to agree on is that this is not a story that will fade quickly. It will continue to develop in stages, and it will likely shape political conversations well into the next election cycle. The stakes are higher than they might appear at first glance, and the consequences will be felt across multiple sectors of American life. And the reactions keep coming. Local communities are also responding, with grassroots movements organizing on both sides. Town halls and public forums have been packed in recent days, and voter registration drives are reporting record numbers. And the reactions keep coming. On social media, the conversation has been intense and fast-moving. Supporters are celebrating what they see as a long overdue step forward. Critics are warning about unintended consequences and what they call institutional overreach. Within hours, the story was trending across multiple platforms, and several major news outlets issued their own detailed analyses. Civil society organizations have also entered the debate, with advocacy groups on both sides making their positions clear in formal statements. The White House press team has been fielding questions all day, and congressional leaders from both parties have scheduled public appearances. Even international leaders have weighed in, signaling that this story has global implications. Polls conducted in the immediate aftermath show a sharply divided public, with reactions breaking along familiar lines but with some surprising shifts among independents. Famous public figures, celebrities, and business leaders have also shared their views, amplifying the conversation and pushing it into mainstream awareness. Memes, reaction videos, and op-eds have flooded timelines within hours of the announcement. One thing is certain, this story will not be forgotten quickly, and the public conversation around it is only just beginning. So what happens next? The next few days will be critical in determining how this story ultimately plays out. New information is expected to emerge, and we'll be here to break it all down for you. Follow Broadscope News for the latest updates. If you found this breakdown useful, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next update. Thanks for watching, we'll see you in the next one. We'll continue to update this story as new details emerge, so be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to stay informed. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, we read every one of them. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next breakdown.